My name is Mason Laurence. I'm a junior and I'm on the football team here. So I was born and raised in San Antonio, Texas. I come from a Christian household, so all my life I went to church on Sundays and really was around just a good group of people and family members who had a relationship with Christ. And I was baptized when I was 8 years old, but it wasn't really until I was around 15 years old that I started developing my own personal relationship with Christ and not just having a relationship with Him because my parents did. And during those years in high school, I felt my heart move closer to God, and I started trusting Him, praying more and more, and I just felt this great sense of peace whenever there were times of trouble that I could turn to Him. Whenever I tried to fill myself up with other things, He was always there. Yeah, so all my life I wanted to be a college football player. I wanted to stay home back in Texas and play near my family, but I didn't really have the opportunities. A lot of coaches told me no, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. I mean, that was my dream, was to play at the next level, and never envisioned myself being here at the University of North Carolina. And North Carolina kind of came up late on the radar in my spring of my senior year of high school. And I took a visit up here, and man, I just fell in love with the place, between the academics, the athletics, and just the environment. I mean, I was like, this is a place that I want to be. And during that process of not knowing, with all the unknowns, where I was going to be next in my life, my faith was put to the test. I really had to trust God. A lot of doors were closing for me that I thought were going to be open, and I didn't know where to go. And sometimes you got to rely on Him and know that His plan is greater. So during this past year, a chapter of the Bible that's really been placed on my heart is James 1. And in James 1, it talks about how you'll go through trials and tribulations in this life. And God says, not if you go through trials, He says when you go through trials. In my personal life, my father, he was fired from his job, and for a few months, my family didn't have any income. And it was really tough just growing up blessed and, you know, being able to have everything that you need, and then God just humbles you by taking that away, and He says, hey, you need to put your reliance in me and not in money. And then also on top of that, I learned this past year that my grandfather was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and that was really tough for me because he's someone I've always looked up to, and he's been a role model in my life, and just to see that steady decline has been really tough for me and the rest of my family. But I keep turning back to James 1, and that God is testing my faith during this time. He's testing the rest of my family's faith. Are we going to turn towards Him and rely on Him through this, or are we going to turn towards a different direction? So, I mean, I think that's just the biggest chapter of the Bible that I've been studying right now, and I know I can use it for the rest of my life, because these are just the first few challenges and hopefully a long life that's yet to come. So what I'm really excited about this year is just to really step outside my comfort zone and let God lead me. It's easy a lot of times just to stay still and do what's comfortable, but God doesn't call us to a life of comfort. He calls us to a life of serving Him, and sometimes serving Him means doing stuff that may not be easy. And I'm hoping that this next year, with me graduating in December, that I'll be able to reach out to some of my teammates or some of the people around me and not be afraid to share the gospel, because the gospel is the greatest gift that anyone can give to someone else. And just to be able to keep it in myself would be selfish to them. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.